Welcome to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith, and today I'm bringing you my December TBR. This will probably go up before my November wrap. If you are watching this later and you've already seen that, November wasn't a great reading month for me, so I'm desperate to try and break myself out of that, and I think part of the problem was it was too small of a TBR, so I didn't have enough choice. I've got a little bit of catching up to do in December's TBR and quite a few things that I've added in. I'm really looking forward to some of these books. Let's get into it. Part of my goal is to not have any books left on my currently reading shelf by the time we get to the end of the year, but I've got some books to finish off, which we're going to start with. If you follow me on Goodreads, which is linked below, you'll know that I'm reading these. I have a few books that are left over from last month's TBR because I still want to read them, one of which is Nottingham by Nathan McCarrick. This is actually, I'm 147 pages into this. It's quite good. It's just really tiny font, very dense. A lot of build up to the story so far, so they've spent a lot of time in the Crusades, and I don't care about the Crusades, but it's starting to pick up now, and I think it's going to get really good. I'm hoping to finish that this week. It's the 2nd of December when I'm filming. No, it's not. It's the 1st of December when I'm filming this. So hopefully this will be done by the end of this week. The other book left over from my November TBR was Amara by Emma McNeil. This is from her World of Lunaria series, and I just didn't get to this last month. It's a little bit dense. As you'll see if you watch my wrap up, which will be somewhere, I had a lot of chunky books to read in November, but I'm definitely wanting to get this done by the end of the year because then I'll finish that series. I also started this month, I can't really remember why, it wasn't on my TBR at all. I think I was just desperate for something fresh. I started reading The Night Country by Melissa Albert, and it's the sequel to The Hazelwood. And I'm really enjoying it so far. Again, probably about 150 pages in of about 300. Think it's really good. Love her kind of fairy tale mode of writing. It's definitely very creepy and gory. Probably should have reread The Hazelwood. I feel like I say that every time. But no, really enjoying that, but want to finish that this month. Got halfway through, got another half to go. Don't think it's going to be too difficult. Can do it. I also read about a page and a half of The Chosen by Tara Natharu, so I've added that to my currently reading shelf, which I'm kicking myself for now, but it would have been on my December TBR anyway. It's just gonna have a really weird long read time. That's fine, we don't worry about that. So that's to finish as well. That is an epic new trilogy, People Vanishing with No Explanation, young adult sci-fi. I think it's gonna be really good fun. Young adult sci-fi is one of my favourite things for getting myself out of a slump, which I am definitely in. My other kind of big challenge, and I think this is gonna be my take to Christmas book to finish it, I really want this book off my TBR. I think it was probably my August TBR. I said I wanted to finish this. And I have read the first book of, sorry, I should say, this is Ursula Le Guin's Earthseas quadrilogy, first four books. I read the first book and I kind of enjoyed it, but I didn't have any desire to pick up the second one. But I left it on my currently reading shelf because I believed in myself more than I apparently do now. And now it's kind of got to the point where it's a personal challenge, so I'm definitely hoping to at least get to the end of book 2 by the end of this year. I also have an audiobook I'm currently working on, which is Robin Hobb's Royal Assassin, which is the second book in the Farseer series, I think. I'm not 100% sure. I really like the first book. That will be in my November wrap-up. I waited until my Audible credit came around again to pick up the next book, and it's about 20 hours long, and even though I listen to things at 2 speed normally, I'm really excited to get my teeth into a nice long audiobook, and I love the narrator of these. I'm just hoping that fewer dogs die. That's all I can say. Onto some arcs. A lot of these are NetGalley because that's where most of my January stuff is. I want to get all the arcs that are currently on my TBR that come out, either have already come out or come out in January, read before the end of the year, because I think that just like puts me 1 month ahead. December, not much publishers, it's gonna be fine. Then I can just have a little bit of breathing room for the rest of the year. I know full well that I'm going to be quoting this clip in something else and saying like, oh, what a fool she was. I have Fate of the Fallen by Kel Cade. For men to rise, heroes must fall. Yet this comes out 9th of December, so I should get to this fairly soon. And it's about a boy called Matthias, who knows, and his friend. They have to save the world, surrender to the forces of evil. This book kind of explores what it's like when the sidekick has to kind of pick up the slack because the hero's not done his job. I'm really interested in this. I think it sounds great, and it's not too long. I've had a lot of really chunky, heavy fantasy lately, as you will see in my wrap up. But this I'm actually really looking forward to. I think it's going to be really good fun. I really like the concept of this, so I think it's going to be good. Next up I have The Shadow Saint, which is the sequel to The Gutter Prayer. I'm so excited. This is one of my most anticipated reads. I'm really hoping that I get sent a physical copy because I'd love to have a physical copy to read. I loved The Gutter Prayer. I thought The Gutter Prayer was one of the most creative, kind of slightly spooky, completely my jam books that I read in 2019, and The Shadow Saint I think is just going to be spectacular, and I'm really excited to get to that this month. I also have The Pursuit of William Abbey, which I talked about in a previous book. I still haven't brought that book home from work. I had to swap desks, I have a new job, but the bag of my stuff that has, I think, a hardback of The Bone Season, which I have on my shelf, so I don't know why I have another one, and The Pursuit of William Abbey in it, I need to bring home. But yes, that's a book from Orbit that's already out, I think, but it's meant to be quite good. I've heard some good things about it. It sounds interesting. I'm gonna give it a go. I'm now really low in frame because I've sat down. Let's adjust. A slight adjustment so that I don't have to kneel while also looking up these books on NetGalley, because sometimes I forget what they're about. So we have Infinity Sound by Adam Silvera. I've not read any Adam Silvera before because I don't really read YA contemporary. This is out on the 14th of January. Two brothers thrown into an epic war, generations in the making. A fight for good and evil between those with power and those who took it. One brother has the power to end it all, the other will stop at nothing in his pursuit of glory. Who will live forever and who will die trying? Could be really interesting, could be really terrible. That's kind of the joy of YA fantasy, maybe. That's probably a very cynical view. That'll be a fun read. Next up I have Beyond the Shadowed Earth by Joanna Ruth Mayer. I've not read any of her books before. I think her first one's called Beneath the Haunting Sea, and this is set in the same world as that. So we'll see. That will be my ever-present test of can you read this without having read her previous books. This looks interesting. People wanting to become empress, bartering with gods. Yeah, sounds like it could be really cool. Don't know much about it, but the cover is beautiful, and I'm looking forward to reading it. That's also YA. Oh, and that is out. Where's it gone? That is also out on the 14th of January. I think there's like two pub dates. There's the 9th and the 14th of January seem to be everything publishing. Next up I have The Iron Will of Jeannie Lowe, which I'm so excited about. I loved The Epic Crush of Jeannie Lowe, which is the first book in this series. I might have to squeeze in a reread of that. I'm not going to squeeze it. I don't know why I'm lying to you. Honestly don't. I really loved the first book in this series and I will definitely enjoy this one. It's really, really good. I think I said when I hauled this, it sort of like fills a Percy Jackson sized hole in my heart, and I just think it's really good. I would recommend. And coming out on the 28th of January we have High Fire by Owen Colfer. I never read the Artemis Fowl books as a child. I think we had one of them on audiobook, and I might have picked up another, but I never had the impetus to read them in order, and I think that was a big problem. And maybe if I ever finish my TBR, I will start picking up the Artemis Fowl books, because who knows, they might be exceptional. So yeah, this is Owen Colfer's foray into adult fantasy, I think. Yeah, his first adult fantasy novel. Well, we know how that went for Garth Nix this year. But yes, this is... there's a swamp wild person. It's in the bayou. Oh, that could be interesting. Anything that involves the bayou has a real potential to get a little bit racist. I don't really know what to expect from this one, to be honest, and I'll just have to read it and find out now, because I didn't read any of my own TBR in November. It's feeling very neglected, and I have some new releases that I really want to get to. So what I did is I took the two new releases that I was really, really excited about, and also two of the books that have been sat on my TBR for the longest, including Earthsea, which we've already talked about. So I have 4 more books to add to this TBR. Let's do the oldest from my TBR first. So I have Joe Abercrombie's The Blade Itself. I've been wanting to read this series since I read A Little Hatred, because Justina, I should read that, has told me that that will make me love A Little Hatred even more, and I think that she's probably right. I purchased this at Yalk this year, so this is actually, other than Earthsea, the oldest book on my TBR, and it's only from July, so I'm feeling pretty good about that actually. I'm looking forward to reading this. It's grimdark, but it's I really enjoyed A Little Hatred's level of grimdark, so hopefully this will be just as good. Next, I have City of Lies by Sam Hawke. Sam Hawke. This is a book about poisoning, I think. I love poisonings. I said that sounds a little bit odd, only on BookTube, but I really like books that take poison into account. I think it's a really cool thing to explore, and this, even though it's looking a little bit long, making me a little bit nervous. I don't want to repeat it last month, but I think this is going to be really, really good. And I think the nice thing about December is that I do have that last kind of week of December off, so I can put some of these really hefty books in. So now I have 2 of the newest books on my TBR. I have The Toll by Neil Shusterman, which is the last book in the Scythe Arc of a Scythe series. I've loved these books, I've championed them, I've recommended them to friends. I'm really hoping to buddy read this with Justine over at I Should Read That, so hopefully she's watching this and remembering to not pick it up yet until we're both reading it. But whenever she says, I want to read this, I will just drop everything and pick this up because I'm so excited to find out how it ends. Last but certainly not least is Brandon Sanderson's Starsight. This is the sequel to Skyward, which is somewhere around. At one point I had 3 copies of Skyward. It's not that funny of an anecdote. I don't know why I keep telling it to you. I really want to see where this series goes. I've really loved it. I have so much Brandon Sanderson to read. It's getting a little bit ridiculous, but this is being bumped straight up because I want to know what happens. And I also want to read it before my wife listens to the audiobook because she might spoil it for me and I don't want that to happen. It's a 19 book TBR this month. Last month was 9 and I didn't even achieve that, so who knows how this is going to go, but I have every faith in myself. I'm really excited about a lot of these books and I'm definitely going to try as hard as I can to finish all of them and maybe even more, who knows. In the meantime, if you want to support me on my book reading, book buying, book living, book absorbing journey, then you can like, comment, share, you can subscribe, that really helps me out. You can follow me on all of my socials and I will see you in the next one.